I hope you're doing well today. This is a really exciting day. Well, beside it being Canada Day, which to me is just like another Tuesday now, I really have a privilege today. Mr. Anane accepted my invitation to come talk about something really incredible. He is launching, I believe, your first book, right?
That's correct.
Awesome. So hey, let's do some applauding for you. I want to show off your book launch right now. I'm going to show that copy of the book so people know later on. But I would love you to tell everybody a little bit about yourself, who you are as an educator, and how you ended up coming to write this book.
Okay. Well, my name is Anane Olatunji, and I always tell folks, remember when you were in second grade, you just follow the vowels and you won't get lost with that last name. So I am originally from New Orleans, and my journey in education as a student as well as a professional has been a little unusual. So the book is written from my perspective of having been a student. I want to stress that I grew up in poverty in New Orleans, but I excelled academically. I got a scholarship to a high school, an elite high school in the Northeast of the United States in Pennsylvania. From there, another scholarship to Harvard University. And from there, I've worked as a teacher, teaching kids from kindergarten all the way to the college level. I've been an administrator of education programs, a trainer of teachers, and evaluator currently of education programs. And from time to time, I am involved in training teachers nationwide and even abroad at professional meetings. So that's sort of the background. All those different perspectives on education, I think, have really given me a unique view. And so I want to say that this book is about all of those experiences coming together in sort of an ironic way. On the one hand, you might say, I'm the epitome of success, okay? I like to say I've been to the mountaintop and also around the block when it comes to education. But on the other hand, along the way, I've learned some things that suggest to me we have to do more than just focus on the skill building aspect of education. And what that other piece is, we have to focus on is the emotional aspect of education. And if we are able to switch the paradigm, as I'm suggesting, I like to say passion propels performance. And so during this talk, I think I'll bring some of those ideas to the forefront of why that's the case. But what we often see is that education is doing harm emotionally to kids. And I consider the emotional aspect of our being to be the engine of achievement, not the brain, not the brain.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I love that you're bringing that up because, I mean, we have young kids ourselves, so we know what they're facing, what their challenges are right now. And I'm a mature mom, is what I call myself, meaning that I've experienced things in life, and whether it be work or education, that now I feel equipped to give my daughter tools, including that emotional piece to deal with certain things. And I don't know that all educators are equipped in that way.
Indeed. I myself can say, yes, I went through maybe I would call it a traditional teacher education training program. And sure, the emphasis is on your content, how to deliver your content, how to be a master of your content. But I have emphasized in my workshops that the ultimate subject is the student.
It is. And I would say, I would dare to say, well, not even dare to say, the reality is that students now and students from 40 years ago are completely different students.
Yes and no. Okay.
Tell me yes and no.
Well, I want to say that many of the challenges that I see today, I saw them decades ago. And
Okay.
it's actually been over time connecting the dots that inspired me to write this book. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, you asked about that. And I want you to know that also in the book, I even relate to stories. I tell stories of students decades ago. Some I taught, some that I did not. But the point I would make is that the educational system and its paradigm really have not changed over the last several decades. Some might even say it's still running on its original foundation, which was the industrial model. Okay, so
Yeah.
so that would be my point. On the other hand, I get what you're saying. Yeah, we have technology and media influencing kids like never before.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I couldn't agree with more that the system itself, the framework has not shifted at all. And I think that, we made a change in our daughter's education, purposely looking for something that is different, not perfect either. I don't know that there's a perfect model. I don't know if you covered that in the book. If you had to create a school that was perfect, what that would look like. However, I know that she would love to go back to Canada and go to school. And I'm like, you have no idea. You have no idea what you would be up against. So, what do you have solutions to this model, or what is your perspective?
So yeah, I think that's a wonderful aspect of the book. The first part of the book talks about the problem in education.
Okay.
And I will tell you in a nutshell, I describe that problem as alienation from school. And this is sort of a term I use, I think, to convey the emotional detachment that kids feel from school. It's a place they don't want to be, a place they don't like, a place they complain about as being boring. And I like to use the metaphor. I have a metaphor. This is what I call the broccoli model of education. Okay.
Broccoli model. Okay, tell me more.
So the idea is simply this: we have an emphasis in the conventional system on academic rigor at the expense of emotional well-being.
Mm-hmm.
And so I like to say that, yeah, this is like a bowl of broccoli. It's very nutritious. I like, in my demonstrations, I even douse it with some soy milk to make the point more strongly. It's very nutritious, but how palatable is it really? Not very palatable to most of us. And this is what causes this disconnect with our children.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first part of the book, talking about the broccoli model of education. The
Broccoli
second part
model.
of the book,
Okay.
the second part, I use another metaphor, the pumpkin muffin model of education. And this is about being both delicious and nutritious. Okay? This is the new paradigm, is about being delicious and nutritious. That's an unbeatable combination.
It's true.
So the framework, however, that I use, that's very actionable and practical, is a framework that I call, and get this, it's called FACES.
Faces.
FACES is the paradigm where students can feel and see themselves at the center of the educational process. FACES stands for 5 things. The F is for fun. The A is for affirmation. We ought to be affirming our kids. Fun means it should be enjoyable. C is for challenge. Just because they're having fun and we're affirming them, it doesn't mean we don't challenge them to be their best.
Absolutely.
E is for expression. This is
Okay.
where we start handing over the educational process to them, and we want them to step into that role of leadership and affirming their ability, to do something with what they've been taught.
Yeah.
And then the cherry on the cake, the S is for success, where we ought to be teaching success principles, actually in the curriculum. And more, I would say, of a natural, indirect way. And by that, I simply mean we're not going to have a class on success principles. While we're in the class, however, the teacher's going to simply emphasize things like, well, if you stay up all night, you're going to probably get up late.
Yeah.
And if you study in a consistent way, a little bit at a time, by the time the exam gets here, you're probably going to do well. Okay?
Yeah.
So those are just nutshells, but that's the framework FACES, where
Okay.
students can see and feel themselves.
And
at
this
the
is the
center of
pumpkin. This
education.
is the pumpkin muffin. This
And
part
that's
of
the
pumpkin.
pumpkin. Yes, because
Okay.
what it's doing is kids are now enjoying the process of education.
Yeah.
Okay, it becomes personally meaningful for them. Another way to think about this is the emphasis on the current system is about getting a job or going to college. With the FACES approach, the emphasis is on helping kids to figure out their strengths, what it is they want to do with their lives, what they want to become. And when you address that, the education takes care of itself. If I decide I want to be a doctor, I know I need to go to college and medical school.
Yeah.
If I, on the other hand, decide I want to be a plumber, I might not necessarily need to spend 4 years in college. But plumbers can make good money, okay? And if that's the work that you enjoy, which is the important point, if it's the work that you enjoy, it's worthwhile investing yourself in it.
Absolutely. I mean, I am not to give us our age away, but I think we're about the same age range. I mean, we grew up in a time where you did exactly that. You went to high school, college, university, got a job, and I moved on. And I know that when somebody actually suggested to me, like, why don't you just start your own business? I thought, well, that's just crazy. Like, why would I do that? And I don't think that idea of entrepreneurship, now it's presented a little bit more in schools, but I don't think at the time there was something. It was you either took like that traditional route, the vocational route, or a trades route. And I think trade is coming back now. It's getting a little bit more, it's getting a little more clout again, because it's not something that, not to dive into AI, but it's not something AI is definitely gonna, take over masonry or anything like that. So you've covered the first part, you've covered the second part. What is the last part of the book that folks can look forward to reading?
Well, no, the book is divided into two parts. So the first is the problem. The second part is the solution.
Okay.
And so in the second part, I give very practical ways in which the FACES framework can be implemented.
Okay.
So maybe the next point is to stress two things. One is, to what end is it being implemented, and for whom the book might really be useful to.
Absolutely.
So in terms of the end result, the new paradigm that I'm suggesting, again, helps this promote this process of self-discovery for young people. So I see the end result as what I would call empowering our young people to achieve self-actualization.
Okay.
This is a very different goal from the traditional system, which I would say focuses on making us skillful academically. Academically skillful. The contrast then is that we need an approach that encourages our young people to become willful as well as skillful. And that's what I'm promoting in the second chapter, how to make our young people willful as well as skillful. So that being said, who needs the book? I'd recommend it at all levels of education, and especially teacher training programs, as
Yeah.
long as you're open to thinking anew about how to approach education. I think the book can be especially valuable for those at the secondary level. That's middle school through high school.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I point out some research that shows this is the critical period where students' interest in school just falls off the chart. And this is why we see high dropout rates in some of our high schools. It's been said as much as 50% of the kids dropping out. But it's also useful for those at the college level because of the emphasis I place on career planning. Um, and so I would also strongly encourage parents to consider the book, owning the book. And that's because you're the primary advocate, you're the first advocate for that child, okay?
Yeah.
And what I think the value of this book would be for you as a parent is to stretch your perspective on the education system. So if you grew up like me, yeah, you're probably still thinking, we got to get those skills. We got to get that degree. We need to get that degree from a name institution because that's what's going to give us the advantages in life. This book will change that paradigm for you and say, for example, help you to understand, I really have to help my kid to figure out where they belong in the world. What do they want to do with their lives? What are their strengths? And how can they become the best version of themselves, as we like to say these days.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Absolutely.
and aside from educators then and parents, I would say any person who considers themselves a youth advocate. The arena that I work in often is with nonprofit organizations in the youth development field. These folks are providing after-school programs, enrichment programs. Some of them are training job skills, but they're all doing things outside of the regular school system to help develop young people, oftentimes emotionally, in terms of their character and emotional development. So those would be my audiences.
Yeah. And do you think that there's a possible shift that can happen in the system?
Yes, let me say this too. In chapter 4 of my book, I entitle that chapter Reality Check.
Yes.
And that's where I actually stepped away from my book and I went out into the field and met with some educational leaders locally in my New Orleans neighborhood. And I want to share that I was very happy to find some of my ideas already out there in different forms.
Good.
So basically, I make the point that this is not pie in the sky. What I think is that I'm giving a very concrete framework for thinking about it, because it's the kind of thing that kind of slips under the rug. And so I'm bringing it to the forefront. But there are some wonderful, amazing examples out there in society already. This is not a new idea that education needs to change in some fundamental ways. I've given it my twist based on my experience and insights. But you can find many good examples out there of how things need to change. It's just that there are not enough of them.
Yeah. Well, I think I read a good quote the other day that said, if you don't change, no, if you're not changing, then you're choosing to stay the same, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's part of it is, for myself, my observations, I visit many schools every year with my program, and there's schools I've been at multiple years in a row and nothing has changed. All the classes are the same, all the textbooks are the same. It's the same books are read every year after year.
Oh.
That comfort level comes. And I know as an outsider, because obviously I'm always looking to improve and give new content so that, and that's relatable to my students, whoever I'm working with.
Yes.
But when I'm seeing the wash, rinse, repeat, is that phenomenon. How can we get teachers to sort of consider something new? I think that's where I feel like the challenge might be.
No, absolutely. Yeah, you reminded me of, who's that? Isaac Newton. An object in motion continues in motion.
Yeah.
Great
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah.
Okay, so we all have to do our part. I want to say in my book is me doing my part.
Nice.
Throwing another object in there to knock this thing off course.
Shake
So,
things up. Yeah.
yeah, can think differently, think anew.
I
So
love
I'm
it.
aiming to shift the paradigm.
So I would love to get your take on, I don't know if you've seen this. There's a woman I follow on Instagram. She has her channel is called Future of Education.
That sounds familiar.
And she is chartering schools around the US that are AI driven. So they don't have teachers. They have they don't have teachers. They have mentors.
Yes.
And the teacher and the students, now this is a charter school from what I'm understanding, and of course there's a fee attached to this charter school.
Okay.
However, the concept is that most of what the students do is AI driven.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on that one?
So I would tell you straightforwardly, I think it's too early to know for sure.
Okay.
But I do like the idea behind it, and that is having these staff members as mentors is a good thing. And from what I understand of this model, yes, they're trying to take out the routinized part, the technical part of education, and have AI do that. And maybe AI can do that more efficiently. And if that's the case, and these other folks can then focus on the mentoring aspect, that could really be powerful. Now, I will say this, however, that mentoring piece is critical. I don't know what's in there.
Yeah.
So if you're just getting mentored to follow the rules that are already in place, then I'm suspect of that model. It's just making what we have more efficient to operate.
I mean, I'm not going to go and quote the whole, like I've seen like clips here and there, and I've just found it interesting to watch. And the mentors definitely are involved with checking in, seeing where the students are at. There's still skills that they're needing to learn. But again, it's that whole idea of learning at your own pace, not having to, follow this whole, we're doing grade 6 math now and everybody's going to do grade 6. But if you go ahead, you can't get into the next grade because you're in grade 6. So I know that, it's more of that. They do a lot of life skills, life skill type workshops where students have to do presentations. They did like a Shark Tank event where students had to present their business ideas. So more of that.
Okay.
Like you said, reality check, life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think, again, this is an opportunity for me to emphasize what I'm really saying about the paradigm shift that I'm advocating.
Yeah.
When I hear some of what you describe, I do get concerned that this is nothing more than a more efficient way of making students skillful.
Okay.
Not necessarily willful.
Okay.
So I want to stress the point that I've gone to some of the best institutions in the United States where people became skillful. Yeah. But I have seen and can tell you their stories, and perhaps some of my own even, where skillfulness does not translate into willfulness. And it is the will that helps us to make our lives prosperous and productive and happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the short of it is, have you ever known someone who had a good paying job and they're unhappy? That to me is not the winning equation. So the fact that we have young people in school all day long, this is a prime opportunity to accomplish not just the skill part, but also the willful part. Surveys have shown that I want to say 4 out of every 5 American workers are disengaged from their work. They didn't say
I believe it. Yeah.
the survey, to my understanding, doesn't say 4 out of 5 can't do their work.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what I'm saying is the shift in the paradigm. We have to get past the how skillful are you and have you figured out what you want to do with your life and why?
Yeah.
And school can play a tremendous part in that if we enable it to.
So when you go and do some teacher training and maybe they're new teachers, or maybe there's a new teacher watching this, what would be your top 3 things that they should consider when they are starting in a classroom? Like, what are the things that they should be implementing so that their classroom emotional intelligence or management be effective for their students?
Well, I will focus or suggest that I've given you the framework in my book, and let me start with
Yeah.
the step of just making the kids emotionally comfortable by infusing fun into your curriculum.
Yeah.
You want to make it enjoyable. And I make the point in the book, I don't mean that they're laughing all the time, splitting their side, but make it enjoyable. And there are lots of ways to do that. There are all kinds of games. Kids also enjoy teaming. They like collaborating with each other. They like conversing. They like debate, for example. That's fun.
Yeah.
And I also tell teachers that you can survey your kids at the beginning of the school year to learn about their interests.
Yeah.
And you can take that interest and help build your curriculum around those interests to ensure that you hook them into your content. Okay, so that's a big part of it. The other part is moving to the affirmation. You want to always be affirming your kids and helping them to believe in themselves and in their potential. That is often a missing piece in traditional schools. Teachers don't take that on oftentimes. It's like, I'm here to teach my subject. And again, I say with the new paradigm, you get it that you are also teaching students, young people primarily. And so you cannot ignore their personal social development. Okay. Again, you want to challenge your young people by giving them rigorous instruction, but it needs to be at the level that meets them well. And this is what they say they've done very well with AI. AI can figure that out, they say, faster than we can. And then you want to give the kids opportunities to express themselves through the projects that they work on. Traditional things, like student government and clubs, those kinds of things. And last but not least, you want to be that parent figure, that mentor figure. Maybe I should say mentor figure less than parent figure, but the point is you're there to guide them. I like to use the term in my book, you're there to provide connection and direction for our young people. And again, those are some practical things you can do. You can get much more detail on them, of course, if you check it out in the book.
Oh, I love it. So if people want to purchase the book, where's the best spot for them to go?
I'm going to say Amazon, but it's all over. It's at Barnes and Noble. It's
okay.
I mean, if you go to my website too, I have links there to all of the major retailers. I've got like 5 different links.
And we'll put everything in the description as well, so everybody will be able to go and find all those, they'll be able to click on all the links as well.
Very good. Excellent. Okay.
Yes. I like to provide the full thing, the full thing. You know,
Okay.
I'm listening to you, and what makes me happy to know is that when I think about what I'm doing with students, I'm meeting some of your criteria.
All right. All right. Very good.
Yes. For me, fun is probably the most important thing because as a public speaking teacher, I'm gonna say at least 50 to 60% of my students that I meet do not love what I do.
Wow. Okay.
Do not love what I teach because it's uncomfortable. And
Yes.
I take them out of their comfort zone. So
Yes.
the fun part was a very important piece for me when I decided to launch this because I wanted to make sure everybody would participate in a way. And what better way than playing games and icebreakers and doing activities that they either do on their own or collaborate or we do as a class. It's probably the one thing people say to me when when I ask the students at the end of the year, what did you like about, what should we do more next year? The first thing they say is more games, more activities. I'm like, guys, come on. We have to do some learning while we're together.
There you go.
So,
That's the hook.
yeah, but I always have that learning. I say it's fun, interactive, and educational because it's literally is that it's fun. They have to interact. And I mean, I'm not out to make anybody uncomfortable. I'm not out to, I don't want to say shame, but yeah, to make anybody uncomfortable. But my job too is to push. I say, it's a gentle push
Yes.
to, get them to start embracing because I mean, you and I both know speaking is not going to be replaced. So you
Yeah.
have to master a bit of that skill. And you
Yeah.
don't have to be super great at it, but at least get them to try.
Yes.
So do you have any last words of wisdom?
Last words of wisdom. Well, I would just emphasize this point about making students willful and not just skillful. When I hear so many parents concerned about getting their kid into the right school, I want to caution you that you might actually be advocating more for the school than for your child.
Yes.
Okay, so again, I think our role as parents and youth advocates is to help our young people find themselves and to become who it is they can be the best at, to fulfill their own lives and not to be misled and distracted by the conventional system.
Yeah, the shiny objects.
Yes.
So if you're wondering what this book looks like, this is our book cover. Here it is. Don't Let School Get in the Way of Education: How to Improve the Performance and Well-Being of Our Nation's Youth by Mr. Anane Olatunji. And I saw you had quite a foreword written.
A forward? What do you mean? Oh,
yeah.
no, I have a major endorsement.
Major endorsement then. Yeah, that's a pretty nice endorsement.
Yeah, that's a pretty nice endorsement. Jack Canfield has endorsed the book.
Nice.
Most know him as the mega successful author, and he was a teacher. Okay, so he knows what this book is about, and I'm just delighted to have his endorsement, knowing that he appreciates firsthand its potential value.
Yeah, I love it. I love it so much. Well, I'm really glad that we got to sit down and chat. I can't wait to share this with my network, with your network, all of our networks, and get it out there to all the moms, dads, guardians, and teachers who, if you've been wondering how to shift your classroom, this could just be a tool that will help them.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
I love it. Well, it's my pleasure. If you want to purchase the book, you can either get it in paperback or on Kindle. So go to Amazon. The links will be in the description. If you have any questions for Mr. Anane, his contact information will be in the description as well. But most importantly, whatever you choose to do, we hope that you have an incredible day, and we'll see you soon in the next episodes. Thanks, Anane. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Good job.
All right. I thought it was good.
I hope that was okay. I love the acronym. It's so good, and I hope that people will take that away. What I can do is I have some time. I think I'll be able to edit it today and get it to you. If not, it'll be tomorrow. Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, Nat.
You're very welcome, sir. Thank you so much, and I look forward to it. Say hi to Drive for me.
Will do. Take care.
Bye.
Your family too. All right.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.